Hi guys, and welcome to the Marc the Shark MMA show. Appreciate you guys watching me here on my Twitch channel. And don't forget, please follow me. If you happen to have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe for free. And also make sure you follow me on my social media accounts, including the Marc the Shark MMA show, YouTube channel, the Marc the Shark MMA show, Facebook channel. My Twitch channel is Marc BJJ Fighter. And my Instagram is Marc_Retorto. And don't forget, it's Marc with a C and not a K. And don't forget to visit the website where you can sign up to be a guest, you can sign up to become a sponsor, or you can shop. Get fabulous hoodies and t-shirts like the one I'm wearing right here. Not too shabby, right? And also you can make a donation. And also don't forget that I also have a podcast that comes out either on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Podbean, pretty much everywhere. I have a new episode that comes out every Friday or Sunday, depending on how the week goes. And then I'll be here on Twitch every Saturday, so make sure you watch me every single Saturday on this channel. All right, guys, stay tuned and watch the show and enjoy it.
Guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and hit the alert button so you get updates. And also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This podcast episode is brought to you by Defense Soap. Defend what you have built. Save 15% with the code Marc the Shark MMA Show, used by all Jiu Jitsu and MMA athletes to prevent skin infections. This podcast is also brought to you by Audible. Go to www.audibletrial.com/MMA Show, and you get a free audiobook when you sign up for a 30-day trial. This episode is also brought to you by HostGator. Save 60% on your web hosting needs by using the promo code Marc the Shark MMA Show. Again, save 60% on your web hosting needs with HostGator. This podcast episode is also brought to you by Retorto Family Books. If you're interested in great books for your children to read, get books by Christina Retorto. And if you're interested in action, thriller, suspense books, you can get The Cabal, The Saga Begins, or fantasy books like Marcus the Vampire, both written by your host, Marc the Shark Retorto. Again, go to www.retortofamilybooks.com. Also, do not forget to go to the Marc the Shark MMA Show podcast website, the shop for our merchandise. We got t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, hats, and even mugs. Anything you can want with the Marc the Shark MMA Show podcast name on it. And also, please do not forget to go to our website where you can make a donation to support the podcast. All you have to do is click on the donation button. I'm just waiting for my guest to arrive. In the meantime, I like to mention that to all the guys who work really hard and need to recover after a long, hard workout. There is a great new CBD product that I highly recommend from Colorado. The name of the company is Canovia. As you well may know, that CBD is great for reducing inflammation in the body, as well as helping you with anxiety, and also helps improve your mood as well. All right, so that's there. And then also, while I got there, I also like to make sure that you guys are also going to my website, www.marcthesharkmmashow.com. And where you can sign up on an email list. And if you subscribe, it's great. The email list, I'll email you, once a month, some great deals on products, some promo codes, and so forth. Also, do not forget to check out the shop by clicking on the shop link. We got all sorts of products there, including hoodies, t-shirts, baseball caps, and so forth. Here's a list there. Hoodies, thing with the Marc the Shark brand on it. Looks like my guest is signed on. Let me bring her on. Alana, you there?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Just be with you in 1 second.
Okay.
We're live now on the show, but I'll be with you in 1 second, all right?
Yes, sir. No
All
problem.
right. Okay. All right, guys. So getting back, we got like hoodies, t-shirts. Here you got some bags, some beanie hats. You can also, if you guys are interested in being on the show, you can also click on the Become the Guest section here and sign up to be on the show. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, there's another link there. Become a sponsor. And you can also listen to the podcast. The latest episode's always on there. You can give a donation to help support the podcast. And I also want to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. The first one is Defense Soap. If you use the code Marc the Shark MMA Show, you save 50% on their products at www.defensesoaps.com. And also Audible. If you go to www.audibletrial.com/MMA Show and you sign up, you'll get a free audiobook. And just to let you guys know, me and my daughter also have audiobooks available that you can listen to. And if you sign up with Audible, you can listen to them for free, including my daughter's first 2 books, I Am Survivor, and her second book called Invisible Girl. And then, of course, this special show is also sponsored by Retorto Family Books. You go to www.retortofamilybooks.com. You can check out the books that I have written and my daughter has written. My daughter has her own series called Invisible Girl. It's a great book for anybody who has a preteen, as it was written by a preteen. So I think it would be a great book for you to give to your kid. And also my book called The Cabal, The Saga Begins. Both this one and my daughter's Invisible Girl and I Am Survivor are available in audiobook format. Our books, of course, are also available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. And, of course, my brand new book, Marcus the Vampire, is available. And let's make sure I didn't forget anybody else. Defensive. Oh, and then we got one more sponsor, HostGator. Give me a second here. HostGator, if you use the code MarcTheSharkMMAShow.com, Marc the Shark MMA Show, you save 60% on your web hosting needs. All right, now today we have a very special guest, the youngest person on the Marc the Shark MMA Show ever.
Hi.
Alana Delva, how you doing?
Good.
I said your name right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is very interesting. I don't know if it was you who sent an email. Who signed up? Was that you or your mom?
That was me.
That was you that signed up.
Yeah.
So I get this email from Alana saying that she wanted to be on the show, and what amazed me was that she is such a young martial artist. So I said to myself, what a great opportunity to expose the world of the martial arts to every other, not just people my age or in their 20s or in their 30s, but to people her own age. How old are you?
I'm 12.
Right now. You're 12. That is amazing. And my hat's off to you. Now I got a couple of questions for you. Whatchamacallit? So what age did you start the martial arts?
At 8.
Wow. And what was your first martial arts that you started?
I started doing karate, and then I moved on to Jiu Jitsu, and then once I found out that you can mix them both, which was called MMA, then I started doing that.
Oh, that's great. And if I'm not mistaken, you're already a champion, right?
Yes.
And certain things like I think you're a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu champion, right?
Yes.
IBJF or something like that?
Yes.
And then you do some other martial, what is it, penetration or something?
Yes.
Can you explain to everybody out there what that is? I'm somewhat familiar with it, but to the listeners out there and to the viewers who watch the show, not everybody may not be familiar with it. So if you can explain it, that'd be great.
Okay. So it's a pancration MMA for kids, which is no punches or kicks to the head. It's MMA, but it's also going to be in a cage, and it's when you have to fight for a belt.
That is fantastic. Now I see in the background there all those medals. How many medals you got back there?
I really don't know.
Too many to count, right?
Yes.
Oh wow! She started at the age of 8. That is fantastic. Now, do you travel all across the country?
Yes, I try to go to Rome, which I already have been for an MMA tournament, and
Home,
I have
Italy.
been to California in Long Beach,
Okay.
Sacramento, and Las Vegas.
Wow. Now, how often do you compete in a year?
About 3 weeks every month.
Wow. So every 3 times a month you compete.
Yes.
Wow. Now, how did you get into the martial arts? Was it your parents? Was it your sibling? Was it someone you watched on television?
Well, unfortunately, I was a victim to bullying, so it really affected me. And then there was a situation at my school where I was being choked by a boy, and then my mom found out. So she told me that would never happen again. And then she took me to a karate school, and I wanted to try out a class, and I really loved it. And then my instructor, which is Julius Mobley, um, he invited me to try out his jujitsu class. And I also love that too. And then once I found out that you could mix them both, which was MMA, I really loved it. And then that's how I started to enjoy it, and it made me feel better. So I started to compete in it. And some people say to enjoy being a kid, but the way for me to enjoy being a kid is by competing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it's sorry to hear that you got into it because you were bullied, you know.
Yeah,
But that's great though. I honestly think the martial arts is a great outlet for kids, you
it
know.
is.
Yeah. Now, if it makes you feel better, I used to be bullied too as a kid, but that's
Oh,
not why I got into the martial arts. I wanted to get into the martial arts when I was like 7, but I had really strict parents, so I didn't get into it. I was like 14.
oh wow.
To yeah, yeah, and then but I was like you. I got into karate, and then I found out about jiu-jitsu when I came back from, I think it was like on a break from college, and I went to another karate school because I was still doing karate on and off between
Okay.
summer breaks, and my instructor was just beginning to study it, and it was right before the UFC came out, so it was
Wow.
right around there, like maybe like a couple of months, and the next one I started. But yeah, I think um, the martial arts give kids a lot of what you call it, gives them confidence, keeps them in
Yeah.
shape, helps them focused. You know. So, what are your goals? Are you gonna keep competing? Are you gonna? Do you think you'll ever become like get into mixed martial arts as an adult? Like
Yes.
see you like I don't know, maybe one day we'll see you in the UFC.
Yes. Actually, I'm planning to go to the UFC because that's
Or
been my goal lately, and I plan to go to California to defend my belt. And if I were to defend my belt, then I would get a spot for Team USA to go to Rome, Greece.
that is fantastic. You're gonna love Rome. I've been there. I went there on my honeymoon. It's a very beautiful city. I've actually been to Greece too. It was on my same. I went on a cruise. I went to Italy, one of the places being Rome, and then I went to the cruise part was in Greece. So you loved it. That's great. Now, do you do any of the Naga tournaments
Yes, I
in
do.
jiu-jitsu? So did you choose the belt or you get the sword?
I get the belt.
You always choose the belt, right? Because I think in the use of this, did it give you a choice between the sword or the belt, or does it just give you the
Um,
belt?
well, from intermediate to advanced and beginner, you get a belt and I mean a sword and a medal. Sorry, and then once you're an expert, then that's when you get the belt.
Yeah, I tried getting the belt a few times. I always fell short. I make it to the finals. The closest I ever got was they call it Battle of the Beach. I don't know if you ever been to New Jersey.
No, sir.
It's called, uh, they have like it's kind of like a popular local tournament called Battle of the Beach. And the guy I went up against was a 12-time, at that time, he's won it more since then, a 12-time NAGA champion in the
Oh,
expert
wow.
level of no-gi. So I took him to overtime. We were tied 2-2. And then he beat
Ooh.
me in overtime, yeah. Yeah, that was probably the last time I actually did really well. After that, I haven't been doing that well. And I've had a lot of injuries, so I haven't been competing. But that's good, though. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, so you got bullied as a kid, then you got into martial arts.
Yes.
Now, your first competition, was that a karate competition or was that one of the Panic Creation competitions?
No, it was a Jiu Jitsu competition.
Okay. Now, being that you were bullied, do you think that had any impact on your performance, like your very first tournament? Like, were you extra do you think that you were extra nervous or extra calm because of the bullying, or did it have no effect whatsoever?
Actually, at that time, I was really excited because it was my first tournament and I got to try and see how far I've gotten with my skills. So I felt really confident.
Okay, that's great. Now, do you do any submission only? I don't even know do they have submission only for your age?
Yes.
They do. Have you done any of those?
Yes, I have.
Oh, wow. But they have time limits though, right? They have to have time limits though for
Yes.
your age, right? Wow. That's amazing. Now, who are you watching UFC tonight by any
Yes, I
chance?
will
I
be.
don't know. You will be.
Yes.
I may have to catch it on replay because I got to be somewhere. Or I'm going to a Sweet 16 party today. So I told my wife, don't tell I'm going to try to bring my phone and a headset. So tell your friend right away, don't be mad. At the middle of the party, I whip out my headset so I can watch the fight. But if I don't get to watch it, I'll watch it on replay. Now,
That's what I do.
there's some women fighting tonight, right? I think Holly Holmes is fighting tonight?
Yes.
Now, who do you think that she's going to win? Or do you think her opponent, I think her name is Rachel, is going to win?
I think that she's going to win because she's been preparing for a while.
Yeah. Now, are you excited about the main event with Connor versus Donald?
Yes, I am.
Now, who do you think is going to win that one?
I think Connor will be winning, but I also want Cowboy to win too. So it's a really hard choice.
Yeah, I personally like them both, but the one thing I noticed about Connor in this one is he's not as obnoxious as he normally is. I mean, I always found it funny when he was obnoxious, but he seems to have like a great deal of respect for Donald.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I have some mixed feelings on that because some people are saying Donald's going to win. Some people are saying O'Connor's going to win. I don't know, man. I really don't know. Connor's got some knockout power, but Cerrone's been around.
Yeah.
Connor's been out of the cage for a while, so that may have some factor. But the one thing I will note with Donald is that he's really good, but he never got, like, once he fights for a championship, he always falls apart somehow. Something always usually gets knocked out. So not that this is a championship, but it's a pretty big fight.
Yes,
now, for you,
your mind, and then sometimes you start to get worried and like, okay, what do I do now? And then you start to lose sight of what you're doing right then, and well, that's when you start to fall apart.
Yeah. Now, as someone young as you dealt, like, who does someone in your generation look up to in terms of martial arts? Like, is it a particular MMA fighter? Is it a particular jiu-jitsu fighter or a karate fighter? Like, who do you
look up to Chris Cyborg because although people criticize her of being a man when she's really a woman, it's and the way of how she looks. The reason why I look up to her is because no matter what people say, she always tries her best and she always trains really hard. And she never gives up and she never lets anything get to her.
Yeah, I like Chris Cyborg too. You know, she's actually quite humble.
Yes, she is.
She doesn't. She's not cocky. You know, she just likes to have fun, train hard, and go out there and compete and do whatever she can. You know. Now, like, because the reason I asked that question is because a lot of people my age, they got into the martial arts because of a person by the name of Bruce Lee. Have you ever heard of Bruce Lee?
Yes, I have.
I laugh when I tell my kids that because even my kids know about him. And I have my youngest kid is 10 and my oldest is 16. Well, she will be 16. I have 4 daughters, by the way.
Wow.
And I always say that it's fascinating that even people, their generation, your generation, they still know who he is.
Yes.
Even though they've never seen a Bruce Lee movie. I just recently had to show it to them last year. And I'm like, they're like, I thought Bruce Lee was like a myth. I didn't know he was real. I'm like, no, he's real. Check this out. So I actually showed them a montage of fighting films that they had on YouTube between his movies, like Enter the Dragon, Return of the Dragon. Yeah, like my generation, I would say 99% of the people who got into martial arts was either because of Bruce Lee or another gentleman by the name of Chuck Norris. You ever hear of Chuck Norris?
Yes, I have.
He's another great guy. Actually, you want to hear a funny story? My karate instructor, the one who introduced me to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Ray Martin, down in school was originally in Middletown, New Jersey. Then he moved down to Neptune, but I think he closed down by now. But he was a very active karate competitor. They called it during the golden age of karate, like when it first came to the U.S. And he actually made a book with Chuck Norris. Like Chuck Norris only published, I think, 1 or 2 books on karate, other than his autobiography. And my instructor's in that book with him, and on the cover of the Black Belt magazine. I don't know if you ever see the magazine called Black Belt Magazine.
Yes, I have.
I don't know if you okay. Yeah, so they were on a cover on it together, and he actually stayed in his house, I think, for a whole summer.
Oh, wow.
He said it was, yeah. And then, like, I guess, like, the later generation after that, I guess the next big 2 guys would probably be Van Damme and Steven Seagal. You heard of that too, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Do you watch a lot of karate shows, karate films? Yeah. But what are your parents? Are your parents at all into it?
Yes, actually, my mom does jiu-jitsu to help me. Sometimes every now and then she competes.
Okay.
And she comes to help me in my corner. But yeah, she's sort of like my training partner.
Okay. Do you guys got mats in your house?
Yes, we have a lot of mats.
Now, have you been like featured like in any magazines or anything like that?
Yes, I have.
I mean, like, is it Black Belt Magazine or Karate Illustrated or
Jiu Jitsu magazine?
The one that's called Jiu Jitsu?
Yes.
Because I know there's one that says really. So that's fantastic.
Yes, and I've also been featured in a Black Belt magazine as well.
Oh man, you gotta email me that issue so I can like see if I can grab it. Absolutely. That is fantastic. Because I'm like, damn, I bet because you're like, pretty. Are you like a world champion now, or like an international? Like, what's your title now?
Like, I'm twice national champion. For 125 and also 125 up. Okay. National champion for 115 and pancration, and 125 for the national national and state, and 125 Panda Cup.
Wow, that is good. That's amazing. Now, do you do any of the IBJF tournaments? Because I know they have the Pan Am's just for kids. Did you ever try that one?
Yes, I do.
Oh wow, you have that title under your belt too,
Yeah, and
right?
I'm also a 3 times world champion as well.
Whoa, damn! Damn, I wish I started when I was your age. That's great. That's been great. Now, have you met any famous black belt jiu-jitsu practitioners?
Yes,
Like any
actually, I
Gracie?
met Laborio. Um,
Okay.
he's actually kind of like my grandpa. I admire him a lot. He helps me. And every now and then he also comes to my dojo, which whenever my instructor says that he's coming to our dojo, I get really excited. And
Okay.
and um and he always makes time for me as well.
Wow. Now, do you train every day or just like 4 days a week?
Actually,
Like
I train every day from 4 in the afternoon to 9 at night.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, do you do any other sports? Do you do wrestling in school or
No, not yet.
not yet? You think you'll add some wrestling or judo?
Yes.
You do judo now by any chance or no?
So.
So. Do they have judo where you train at now?
No.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
I
they
go
have
to
wrestling. They have wrestling where you are
no.
for your age group, or do you have to wait till you get older or whatever? Because over here where I am, they have wrestling at 5 for both boys and girls.
Well, my school doesn't have wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So once I go to high school, then I'll be doing wrestling there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because here it's not the school; it's like kind of like the town. So I guess you would call it rec. They call it rec.
Oh.
Pretty much, they do it for all the sports. Like what they do here is that it's either rec or travel. Like if you do soccer, it's rec, which means you compete against local towns. If you do travel, you can pretty much go anywhere in the state. And they do that with everything, but wrestling. Wrestling is just rec till you get to high school.
Okay.
But and then like the parents, if they're really into it, then they stick their kids in wrestling camps throughout all year round because that's pretty popular around here. A lot of wrestling camps. That's another thing I wish I did when I was younger. I didn't know about it till it was too late. But you live and learn, right?
Yes.
Now, you have any upcoming? Because you say you compete every 2 weeks, so I'm assuming you have a tournament coming up, right?
Yes, I do. Actually, next week I have a kickboxing tournament on Tuesday, and
Wow.
then I'm hoping to be going to the IBJJF for Pan Kids. I believe it's in Long Beach, in
California.
California for. And also, I'm planning to going to the Pan Kids in Las Vegas, and I also plan to be going to California for the pancration to win the title or defend my title to go to Rome, Greece, and so far that will be it.
Oh wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's great.
And also, I will be having other tournaments for Lilio Code, Naga, New Breed, and Copa.
Oh, you're doing a new breed tournament?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think they come. They were coming around to Jersey for a while, but then I haven't seen him lately. I haven't seen him lately. That's great though that you keep him active. All right, all right, guys. We'll take like a minute break real quick. Stay on the line, Elena. I'll be right back.
Yes.
All right, guys. I also want to let you guys know that it's either every Friday or Sunday. Other than the live show, I also have a podcast that comes out. And you can listen to it on either iTunes, you can listen to it on Pandora, iHeartRadio, or you can go to my website, www.markthe.shark.MMA or anchor.fm, Marc the Shark MMA Show. It's also available on Stitcher. This week's episode is actually coming out early. It's actually out now because of the Conor fight. And also, don't forget to follow me on my social media platforms. On Facebook, it's Marc the Shark MMA Show. On Twitter, it's Marc BJJ Fighter, and it's Marc with a C, not a K. And on Instagram, it's Marc, MARC_Ritorto, RITORTO, and Instagram. And again, if you can, please follow me on this channel here, this Twitch channel. If you happen to have an Amazon account, subscribing is free. Otherwise, you can follow, and that's free. And it'll really try to bring in the numbers. And then also, don't forget, I have a YouTube channel. It's Marc the Shark MMA Show as well. Follow me there. Subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notifications. All right, Alana, we're back live. All right, now I have some other questions for you. So, you like Chris Cyborg? You think Conor's going to win, right?
Yes.
Main event. Okay, you think Holly Holm's going to win?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, for you, where do you think you're going to be in a couple of years from now? You think you're going to be just sticking with pancreation, or you think you're going to be switching off to MMA? Because you said you wanted to get into MMA, but I mean, you're not even, you're pretty young now, so you got a while to go. But let's say you're, in high school. Do you think? Because I think you can do like local MMA. I think in certain states at like 16, 17. Do you think you'll be starting that young?
Yes.
Or you think you'll be doing more jiu-jitsu?
I'll actually be doing more MMA.
Okay. Oh, and then you got this kickboxing match. Now, I'm assuming you guys wear headgear, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Now, how many rounds is it?
It is 3 rounds, and each round will be 5 minutes.
5-minute kickboxing matches? Whoa, because even
2 minutes and a half. Sorry.
How much?
2 minutes and a half.
2.5. Okay, I was going to say, like the Thai matches, I think are only 2 minutes when they're pro. They only do 3. That's great. That's great. Now, for any potential sponsors, or do you have sponsors by any chance that you want to mention on the show?
Yes, I do. Actually, I would like to shout out to my sponsor, Warhammer, for my clothes, and I would also like to shout out to Team Spartan, and and if there's anybody else that will be willing to help me out, please contact me on Instagram at Alana Delva, the toothfairy.06. And if you would like to call me at 321-465-1807.
There you go. So anybody's out there that's looking to sponsor this young upcoming talent, hook her up. All right, Alana, it was great having you on the show. Now, for everybody who's out there that's watching this live, hopefully we'll catch you next week. But if you're happening to be capturing this episode when it's in its podcast form, please continue to listen because there's more content to follow. All right, Alana.
Oh, wait.
Alana, sorry. Have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy the UFC fights tonight. And good luck, and hopefully you have a long and prosperous MMA and jiu-jitsu career.
Thank you.
All right. And don't forget, follow me as well.
Yes.
Social media, Twitch, YouTube, this channel, whatever. All right. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
You
Take
too.
care.
All right, guys, we'll be right back, but first a word from our sponsors.
During World War II, I was in prison in a Nazi camp. I died there, or so I thought. Instead, I became a creature of the dark world. Now I fight to protect my daughter. I am Marcus the Vampire. The book is now available at Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com and RetortoFamilyBooks.com.
All right, guys, this week's episode is done on a live show. But if you happen to be listening to this in the podcast format, keep listening because there's more content to follow. All right, guys, see you guys next week.